Welcome back. This is Evans, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install SQL Server on your VM. From last class, I showed you how you can install, you know, different things on your SQL AD. Then I went over to SQL 01. I initialized my digs, brought them online. And now the next thing would be to install SQL Server. So I'm going to log straight into the computer, SQL 01. Don't forget, whatever you see me doing in SQL 01 is what you are going to do in SQL 02 and SQL 03. All right. So now you're going to click here to sign into your computer. Great. So before then, we're going to go back. There are some things we didn't do. I just saw something now. So I'm going to click password 1. Then you click on enter. So before we go ahead to install this computer. Okay, yes, I see here that everything is fine again. But since it has joined the domain, when you are signing back in, let me just click on switch user. I'm going to sign in as SQL slash. Remember that we created a user in our Active Directory when we started. So let me use Nella now, and then click on password 1. So this is a user logging into the computer for the first time. Remember that we created Nella in Active Directory. If you watch this video, you'll remember that in our Active Directory, we created a service account, and then we created a user. Now, to install SQL Server, there are different steps that we are going to follow. Now, I would explain to you in details in the class why we need the service account. I'm assuming before you watch this video, you must have gone through the class to understand why we need all those service accounts. So while this is coming up, I'm just going to wait for it to sign me in to this computer for the first time, and then I'll go ahead and install SQL Server. Right. So it's still applying the settings. This user is logging in for the first time. It should be quicker than this, but let's just wait till everything comes on. Right. So this is taking time than usual. So I'm going to have to pause the video and come back when this is done. I don't want the video to be long. All right, welcome back. You can see that I've been able to log in now as a user. So let me just quickly just do some checks here to see if everything is in order. Okay, yeah, this is SQL 01. It belongs to this domain, SQL.com. All right, the password has been changed to 192.129. Good. So now we're going to go ahead and install our SQL Server on this computer. Now remember, when I first of all went to SQL AD to create what we call service account, and we created some users and we created a group and put some 1 or 2 users in the group. So now we're going to go straight to installing SQL Server. And please watch how I'm going to do it. You come to your File Explorer, you double click this File Explorer. This is going to open up for you. You go to your network. You want to navigate to that file share where that you created initially when you started the VM. Remember, we went somewhere and we shared a file. So this is it here. In case if you don't see it, you can always click on here to change it. But I have seen it. You can double click this. You double click share folders. You see that folder you created initially is now here in your VM. You double click it to open. This is your SQL Server. So we want to start our installation of the SQL Server. Very easy. Now, from SQL Server, I think 2014 or 2014 and above, when you install it, don't quote me, it could be 2014 or 2016, you need to also install the SSMS, the studio itself. So let me start here by, first of all, installing the SQL Server. So you double click on this setup here. It's going to open up. No, this will throw up an error. I need to, okay, let me see. Do yes. Oh, okay, it worked. Okay, beautiful. So you click on install. So this is going to install your management studio for you. I didn't know that's going to work, but because this is the network part, I wanted to copy the file to a local disk or to a local site on my VM. But let's see how this is going to work. Okay, it's installing the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio with Azure Data Studio. I mean, this is where you're going to do your work. And as you can see there, we have Microsoft.NET .NET Framework 4.7 that has been installed. So everything is installing one after the other again. So this video is not longer than necessary. I'm going to pause the video and come back when that is done installing. So welcome back. As we can see, it has finished installing the SQL Server Management Studio. It's telling us to restart. I'm not going to restart it now because I'm still installing SQL Server. So I can click close. Then the next thing would be to come right here. You can copy. Let me try first of all. It will not. This will throw an error because it's a network part. Okay, it's allowing me to go today. Wow, this is good. So here you go to download media. We want to download the ISO. You click on download. So this is downloading the ISO image. So after the ISO image has been downloaded on this network part, we're going to take it into the local VM, into the local drive in the VM. Then from there, we're going to install our SQL Server 2016 with Service Pack 2. All right, so as you can see, that is going so fast. So I'm not going to pause the recording because this is actually going so fast. Okay. Please, when you watch the video, try as best as possible and do as I do. Don't forget to do your assignment, which is installing SQL Server 02 and SQL Server 03. This will help you start to get used to how, to play with the machine and how to set up things. All right. So this is going on right now. Okay. It's setting up our files for us, making sure that everything is in order. And so from here, we're going to go to the next stage. Beautiful. So this is done downloading now. Just a couple of seconds and it will be done downloading. Okay. Awesome. So download successful. We're just going to close this. And are you sure you want to exit? Click on yes. All right. So now that we're done with that, if you click on download, you're going to see it right here. Okay. It came up to download. So you're going to double click this. This is going to open up for you Then you double click the setup file. You click on yes. This is going to populate for you and you start installing your SQL Server. Beautiful. When this screen pops up for you, you're going to go to your left-hand side here. You're going to say installation. Then you want to install a new SQL Server standalone installation. So you click on this. It's going to start populating this for you like this, like as you can see on my screen. Here you can click on next. Yes, we want to install evaluation. You accept the terms and condition. You click on I accept, click on next. So I don't want to receive updates, so you can leave it like that. Click on next here. So it's scanning the VM right now. It's scanning the software for some updates, okay? You'll see this warning sign, but don't worry about that. Just click on next. Now we want to choose the features that we want to see in our server. The first one we'd like to pick is called the database engine services. Without these database engine services, your SQL Server will not work. Because we'll be doing replication at some point, I'm going to pick replication. You can just come here, pick data quality service. For now, we'll leave reporting service till as you advance in your career, you can go back into that. So we're going to go here into data quality client. Then you pick client tool connectivity. I don't want to do integration services now. If you need that, you can pick that. But for this installation, we don't want to do SSIS. So I'm going to come back to client tool backup connectivity. I'm going to click on this one as well. Then you can just click on this too. I mean, we just pick some couple of features that we want to see. Then you go ahead and you click next. So it's going to bring us to the next stage in the installation process. Whenever you see SQL Server, when you are installing SQL Server for the first time, it is called a default instance. If you want to install the next SQL Server on this same machine, it's going to now be a named instance. And the default instance of SQL Server is called MS SQL Server. Please take note of that. Then you click on next. We're going back now to the server configuration. We want to configure the server now to make sure that we pick some things. Now, in your server configuration, the first thing we want to look at now is the service account. Your service account is what the SQL Server agent service runs on. So you're going to come to account name here and click this arrow. All right, you're going to see browse. You click on browse. Because you created the service account in your Active Directory and you have joined this computer to the domain controller, you can then search for your service account, which was SQL Server /SSMS. So you can just type SSMS here. It was a service account we gave to our, it was the name we gave to our service account when we're creating that user in SQL AD. There it is. So you click on OK. All right. It's saying that the trust relationship between this workstation and the primary domain failed. Okay. So I'm just going to, okay, cancel. Click here. So we have to fix something before I come back here. Let me see. Okay. I know what happened. Because we did not restart the server, that is why it happened. So I'm going to click, let me just click yes. We have to start this all over again. Unfortunately, we have to do that. So I have to restart this server for the changes to take effect first. In your own case, you may not experience that. I come down to start here. Where's my start? Right click it, shut down, want to restart. And you can just change it to planned, and then you continue. Restart anyway. So we were supposed to restart this server, but I didn't restart it. That is why that error happened. So in your own case, at that point where I didn't restart it, you may want to restart it. But let us see what will happen now. But just to be sure that my SQL 01 is part of my domain controller, let me go here to SQL AD and log in and go to computers. I should see SQL 01 there. So to confirm, I'm going to come to tools here. I'm going to come to Active Directory users and computers. It's opening up for me. It's right here. So you come here, you click on computers. You see it, SQL 01 is already part of this domain. Remember, you have to do SQL 02 and 03. That's why it's not showing up here. So I can now come back to my SQL 01 and let me log in to be sure that everything is working fine now. Password 1. We're logging in. That was fast. So now I go back to my file explorer and I was trying to install, I go to downloads. That's where that file was. We have to start again, unfortunately. Double click it. It's going to open up setup for me again. No, cancel. Double click my setup. Click on yes. So we're going to get to start that process again of installing SQL Server. Okay, you come back to installation. I mean, this is good for you to learn. You go to new installation. Then from here, you go to next. You accept this license. You click on next. So I don't want to get updates. Click on next. I mean, this is good that that happened so you can see me go over it again. So it's running check. Okay, you click on next. You pick those features again. I pick this one. I picked the second one. I picked this 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 one, and I picked this last two. You click on next. All right, so I told you about the default instance and name instance. You click on next. So this is where we were before we had that error. So now we're back to the same spot again, the server configuration. So I want to change my service account to the one that we have, which is SSMS. Check names, click OK. I want to put my password 1. You see that it has allowed us to pass through now, no error again. Change this from manual to automatic. You do the same for just these two, SQL Server Agent and SQL Server Database Engine. You click here, you go to Browse to, you type your service account, which is SSMS, you check names, you click on OK, you put the same password 1 here, password 1. The password must match, if not, it will show you error. Then for your SQL Server browser service, do not turn this on. Leave it in disable because you don't want to turn on a browser service in your VM. That is very risky. So you leave it that way. You click on next. Coalition, I mean, speaks about the coalition of SQL Server. I mean, I don't really want to go deep into that for now. So now SQL Server has two types of authentication. If you leave it in Windows authentication mode, you will not be able to create what we call a SQL Server account. So you have to take mixed mode. All right, this will mean that you can also log into this system using your SQL Server System administrator account, which is called SA. So you're going to put your password here. I like to use the same password all through, which is password 1 with a capital P, password 1, so that you always remember. Now, this is very, very important, the next step. Who are those that can use this server? Remember in our Active Directory, I created a group called database, SQL database group. So I'm going to add that group here. Rather than add an individual user, I will add the group so that even if you create a user tomorrow or a new user joins the organization, all you need to do is to add that user to the group in Active Directory, and they'll be able to access your SQL Server. So you click on Add Current User. This will show you this. But remember I said I don't want to add just current user like that. I can just remove this. I click on Add. I want to go and add the group which it belongs to, which is SQL administrator. Let me just do it admin. It's going to bring it out for me. Okay, I go to location, speak entire directory, cancel. Let me just type SQL. Let me see what will bring it out. Okay, so this is what I created before. SQL database administrator. That's the name of the group. You click on OK. So now that means anybody that belongs to this group in Active Directory would be able to log into this server and use SSL and use the SQL server. If I only allowed Nella, the owner of this computer, or the owner, the name that I created, the current user, if I only allow this person, if any user comes in again, they will not be able to log into the server to do anything. So I want to remove that and just leave the group. So data directories, you click on the next tab, which is after server configuration, you go to data directories. Now remember that we initialize 5 different disks. This is where you're going to bring them in now. What you're saying is that when you create your database, it's going to create different files, like 2 files, data file and log file. So you're going to specify that you want your data file to go into the data drive and the log file to go into the log drive. So you come here. Before that, I want to show you something. It is called data root directory. Now, this is the default part for SQL Server. It is called C drive, program files, Microsoft SQL Server, then the version of that server. All right. But now we just want to change these drives to match what we created and initialized. You're going to come to this 3 ellipses button here and click this button. You scroll down, you're going to see the data file. You pick the data file. When you click on this data file, you scroll down, you see make new folder. I want to create a default folder inside that drive. I'll call it MSSQL. I'm going to hit OK. Automatically, it sees the log file. But remember that our log file was in G drive. To confirm that, you can come here. You'll see that your log file is G. That is log file G there. You can click on cancel. Just change this one to G automatically to create that folder. Then our backup was our J drive. To confirm that, click this ellipsis button here and scroll down to backup, which is J drive. Then you click make new folder. You call it MSSQL. You click OK. Then the next, you want to go to TempDB. Your TempDB, best practice says that you should create different drives for your TempDB. Because TempDB, if you do not properly size it and give it its own spindles, it can cause what we call TempDB contention. I will go more into details with that, and it can affect performance. So, but for now, the basic is that our TempDB needs to belong to 2 drives, which is the data directory and the log directory. So I'm going to just remove this. Click on remove to remove that one. Then you click on add. You scroll down to your temp data, pick the first one. You also click on make new folder. and type MSSQL. When you hit OK, automatically it changes the log drive for you. And I remember the log drive was I when we initialized it. Then file stream is the next tab. We're not going to go into file stream. From here, you can just click on next. When you click on next, and that is it. You have installed your SQL Server. So SQL Server right now is being installed on this machine. So I'm going to pause my video and come back when SQL Server has done installing on this machine. See you shortly. You see, it's almost done installing. All right, so SQL Server is almost done installing on this particular VM. Please don't forget, you're going to do the same thing for your SQL 02 and your SQL 03. All right, so we can see that it's copying some files, it's making sure that everything is in order, and setting up the server for us. So the SQL server, I mean to say. All right, so I mean the installation is pretty straightforward if you follow everything I've shown you in this video. All right, so while that is going on, I'm going to just close all of this. Or better still, let me just wait. Okay, it's done. You can see everything is done. Say close. You close this. You close this. Your SQL Server has successfully been installed. You can minimize this. Now, for you to see your SQL Server, you can come to Start here. All right, you go to Search. You can type SSMS. If you type SSMS, now that is a studio that you first of all installed. You can right-click it here. You go to Pin to Taskbar. All right, that is one thing. You can also type your configuration manager, configuration manager. Look at it down here. You right-click it. You right-click configuration manager. No, sorry, I wanted to put it on my taskbar too. You come here, you type configuration manager. So when you type a configuration manager, which is this one down here, the second one, there are two, but pick the second one. You right click it, you pin it to taskbar. Now you come here. This is your configuration manager, the one with the red, kind of box. Then the one with the spanner is your SSMS. So before you go to your SSMS, let me first of all show you what your configuration manager look like. Double click on this, you click on yes. So this will open up. Now, if you click on SQL Server Services, double click it, you can expand this button to see what is there. Now, remember that when we're installing SQL Server, I told you not to enable this. That is why it's like this. You see, you can right click it, nothing is here because we didn't enable that feature. All right, then see your SQL Server Services here. If this is stopped, you can never log into SQL Server. All right, and this is your agent. Your agent is what enables you to create jobs and to do some, automation tasks in your SQL Server. If it is not running, you will have issues. So just FYI. All right, then let's come down now and double click your studio. All right, so your management studio is opening. This is where you are going to be doing your work as a database administrator. It's going to be inside the SQL Server Management Studio. However, Based on your level of experience, you're going to learn how to start using the SQL Server Management Studio. I'm going to log into the studio and just do a quick tour in it. Now you can see that since it was Nella that logged into this server, she's already here. She can sign in, so just click on connect. So she's connected to her SQL Server. This is done. This is where you're going to be creating your databases, doing your backup, doing your performance tuning, doing everything that we do as database administrator. Most of it is done in this studio. So I just want to quickly take a tour of this studio. If you click on this plus sign here, this is going to open. You'll see that there is no user database here, but we have system databases. If you click on this box here, you will see the default system databases that comes with your SQL Server when you install it. Master, model, MSDB, and TempDB. Now, remember TempDB again, we created two disk drive for it. So that is where your system databases is located. If you want to scroll down here to this SQL Server agent, this is, if you click on this plus, this is where you automate all your jobs. But right now, it is still brand new server. Nothing is in there. And I mean, you know, there are a couple of things that you can look in here. You can just play around it. I mean, as we go further in the studio, in the class, you'll be able to see how this works out very well. So with this, we've come to the end of how to install SQL Server and how to set up your environment. So your job now would be to go to SQL Server 02, make sure you power it on, you join it to the domain, all right? And then you go ahead and initialize the disk, then go ahead and install SQL Server on it. Do the same with 03, okay? If you follow everything that I've shown you, you will be able to do this in no time. So I'm just going to end this video here and we'll take it up from next time. Have a wonderful day.